Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Hello, this is the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston, and I am here with one of my favorite people. Her name is Vanessa, and she's had a journey for quite some time, and certainly a very arduous journey with food before then. And I asked Vanessa here, or rather she suggested this, but I asked her here to detail her story so you could benefit from her success and experience and strength and hope and wisdom, as well as her trials and tribulations and stumbles and falls. So, Vanessa, how are you today?
I'm fine. How about you?
You're fine?
Yes, I'm fine.
I'm glad to hear that. Do you want to start at the beginning? Do you want to tell me your story? How did things start with food troubles?
I'd be glad to do that. The binging actually started when I was very, very young, and I was aware that I was eating more food than my siblings were. Wasn't actually going out to get food and get it, but it was taking more food.
You mean taking more food from whatever your parents cooked?
Yes. Yeah, it was set before on the table. I would just take more food than anybody else. I'm shocked at it now, but I was thinking about that earlier.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have one sister and two brothers.
Okay. So when you were how old did you start overeating at the table?
I have to say around 7 or 8, I can remember. I'm second in line in the order of children.
And did you always overeat with other people at the table, or did that progress into sneak eating or overeating alone?
Yes, it eventually progressed into sneaking food and going off into a room and eating it, and even going back a second time to sneak what I could. That's what I can remember about the binging throughout my childhood.
What happened? What was the result of the overeating at mealtime and then overeating on your own?
I developed a real dependence on sweets. We always had sweets in the house. That's, of course, what I would go for. I finally realized, too, that I was binging because of any reason, really upset, happy, anxious. It just became a real way of life for me to sneak food and to eat it. And then as I got in my 20s and older and able to drive, I would drive to fast food places and just load up. It was like any kind of emotion. It was food, food, food.
So emotional stimulation became associated with food, whether it was a good emotion, a bad emotion, or anything in between.
Yes.
Did you gain weight?
Yes, I've been overweight most of my life, actually, pretty much. The weight gain, I knew it was happening, and I would go on diets, but I wouldn't follow through. I would just be good for a week or so, and then I would start binging again.
How much did you gain?
I think in my childhood, I was even 50 pounds overweight. And through my adulthood, I was over 100 pounds overweight.
And did anything work?
Not really. My mindset wasn't really there to lose the weight, to get healthy. It was just doing it because people suggested it, and I needed to follow through what they said. So my heart wasn't really in it to lose the weight yet.
So what changed?
Well, about 3 years ago, I read the book, and then I signed up for the program, and that really helped me a lot. Just framing it into the pig just being a part of my life and telling me to eat, and it wanted to eat. It was hungry. I did really well. I had a coach, and I did well. The program is different, too, than it is today, but I went off of it. I thought that I could eat just one bite. I did that for a while, the one bite method, and then that went into go ahead and be good to next week or tomorrow, and I could get back on track, but that didn't work either, and I eventually gained all the weight back.
The first time around, did you lose all the weight?
Yes, I lost over 100 pounds.
How long did you maintain that?
I would say maybe 6 months. Again, it was my mind just wasn't quite into it.
So you lost the weight, you maintained it for about 6 months, and then you fell prey to the just one bite or start again tomorrow squeal.
Right. Especially the I can start tomorrow squeal.
What happened? What made you come and do this again? How did you overcome it the second time through?
Well, I got an email from you saying that you were doing an intensive program, and I liked what I read, and it offered more support than previously. And I said, well, I need to do this because it worked before, and I know it'll work again. And I've always believed the pig is there, and the pig is just getting out of control.
You came back again. What was the additional support that was helpful to you?
Well, the education is always so helpful, and that was in the beginning. And then the calls were really important. The calls were supportive, and accountability of a coach having to email and get their opinions, and they would help you with your struggles. And there was just a lot of support. I would say one-on-one that I really needed.
Even though it wasn't really one-on-one.
Right.
Just for people who don't understand, originally our program involved no accountability, no regular group meetings. And we just had a one-on-one coach that would have a few sessions with you, which we no longer have. We exchanged that for 5 times a week group support, individual one-on-one email accountability, and then there's a small upsell if people want the one-on-one coaching now. Basically, you can get support every day now, and your coach is waiting for you to report in and tell him or her what you're struggling with and what your real-time refutations have been like, and kind of walk you through the program on a daily basis, at least for the first month or so, and then it backs off a little bit. So the program is much different than it used to be. And you're saying that the personal contact was very important to you, and the groups and the email coaching.
Yes, very much so. And also the refutations, as you mentioned them, they were something you can do anytime, anywhere. You can do it in your mind if you don't have paper to write it down. But that just helped me to clarify the squeals and put the pig in its place and back in the cage. So that's important too.
Do you want to talk about how you refuted the just one bite and start again tomorrow squeals?
Sure. Well, I realized they were a squeal, first of all, and then I wrote down, and basically I said that the pig is lying, that I cannot have one bite off of my food plan because I learned that if I did, I would, keep going on. I basically just came down to the pig is lying, and tomorrow is not there. It's today. You need to take care of yourself today.
There's no mythical cleanup crew that's going to come and fix everything that you do today.
Right.
And when you allow the pig to say, you can binge today and start again tomorrow, what you're actually doing is reinforcing with dopamine the thought, I will start again tomorrow in and of itself. And so when you think that and then you binge, you're more likely to think the same thing tomorrow.
Right.
So you realize that there's no cleanup crew that's coming tomorrow and that all you had was the present moment to be healthy.
Yes.
What about the just one bite squeal?
Well, that was also a lie. This time around, too, my food plan isn't as involved as last time, so it was easier to keep. And so I could see that rule right there, one bite, and you're going to be in trouble.
Got it. So what were the results the second time?
Well, I learned so much. I was open to learning, and I had excellent coaches and you in the calls. And I really learned that I couldn't blame my circumstances for wanting to eat. It was really the thought process that was needed correcting. I went through a lot of challenges in the last couple of years, and I just realized I can't blame them anymore. It's not true. That's another pig squeal.
Would you be willing to talk about some of the things that you went through? Because there are a lot of people who are blaming their circumstances for overeating. And I think if you're willing to talk about some of the things that you went through, people would identify and maybe have the nerve to stop blaming their circumstances and look at the thought process instead. Only if you want to.
Well, sure, I can do that. First one that I'm thinking about is I had some trouble with employment. There's some things were said that weren't true. And so I confronted a person about it, and they were very negative, of course. And I ended up just leaving the job and deciding, well, I guess I need to eat. So I just tried to make that my comfort. And another thing that happened was I had a major surgery and I couldn't walk for a couple of months. The rehab took about 4 months, and just sitting there eating and just filling my face. I wasn't really planning anything healthy. And it's interesting because I would ask for the food and I would get it. My husband wasn't the greatest at saying to me, well, you don't really need this. And I guess that really wasn't his job.
So you lost your job and you had major surgery.
Yes, those were the two big ones.
Okay. Was there anything else?
No, just little day-to-day things that would get my emotions going, and anger surfacing and sometimes happiness. I was just reaching out again emotionally for food.
I remember you had a kind of medical diagnosis after that also that you had to contend with.
Right, right, that's true.
You were going to be losing your vision, right?
Yes, that's another diagnosis I had. In the future, there's a great possibility that I will lose my vision. And I thought in my big why, I put down that I do not want to have it be cumbersome because I have weight on myself to move and to have people guide me. It was hard to accept that diagnosis, but I finally have. And I'm not eating over it, which is great.
Let's just take a pause for a second and take a breath and give you some credit. You lost your job. You had a major surgery with a 4-month disability afterwards, and you were told that you were going to gradually lose your vision. It sounds like you don't even really think about losing your vision as a circumstance that you would have eaten over. Like by that time, you'd learned that these circumstances are not an excuse to eat, and you face that with equanimity and grace. You told your pig to be quiet about it.
Yes, I definitely told the pig it needed to stay in its cage. And it's been a year. I was in the July intensive last year, and I don't even think about going off of it now at all.
Vanessa, do you know how much credit you deserve for this? Do you know what a big deal that is?
Yeah, it is for me. It's a big deal, and I'm happy to be able to tell others about it.
You're going to inspire a lot of people. You're very humble about all this, but it's a really big deal. How do you know that this is permanent?
I've really worked it into my life that this is how I want it to be, and the pig is caged, and it's funny if it tries to come out, I can just go right ahead and do a refutation in my head and get it back in its cage. And it's like I grasped this way of life, and I really like it. It's a lifelong commitment. I went on a trip recently, and at first I thought making conditionals, and then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to follow my food plan because that's what I'm choosing to eat like. And it went wonderful. I didn't go off my food plan at all, and I felt really powerful and good.
Isn't that fantastic? I'm sorry for singing your praises and making you a little bit uncomfortable, but Vanessa, I've watched you the whole time. I remember when you had gained the weight back and there was a certain amount of shame that you're carrying that you don't carry anymore. And you were shy about speaking up. And I've watched you transform into a different person, not just with food, but with how you speak up in the groups, that you have your own ideas about things, that you ask questions when something doesn't make sense. You participate and share your observations. You even suggested that we do this podcast because you wanted to be more public and help other people about it. And I don't think that you would have been someone who did that when you came back originally. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're correct. There was a lot of shame, and I remember thoughts thinking everybody's going to think I'm a failure and that I'm not going to be able to be helped. I'll be lost again. And it wasn't that way at all. No one made me feel ashamed or anything. And what comes to my mind is that you think you fail, but you have to get back up and you have to keep going. And that's the thing that's the key that you're going to do.
Failure only exists in the grave. It's true. It's true. Everything else is experience. Everything else is what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. You're the quintessential example of that. You really transformed yourself.
I remember when I first talked to you about coming back to the program, and this is a feeling I've had, and I've kept it in my mind. I said to you, I feel like I'm coming home again. It's just how precious this program is, and it's a true way to live, and it's opened my eyes a lot.
Vanessa, I'm so honored. I'm so honored. I'm so glad that this helped you so much. Is there any way I can help you today or anything else that you wanted to be sure to share or observe or you think would be helpful for people to know?
Was thinking about when the intensive ends, that there's still a support out there. If I have a struggle and I need to work it out, there's the Facebook group, which is really helpful. And I can always make an appointment for some consultation with you or a coach. And it's just having that in the back of my mind is really, really comforting.
Good. You can get expert opinions and information whenever you need it, right?
Right. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you lost all the weight again?
Well, I gained more back, but I'm so close. I have about 15 pounds to go. So I've lost about almost 100. Let's say that.
Almost 100 now. More important than the weight, you've confidently adopted the lifestyle.
Right. And I've gained a lot in personal health and just being able to move, mobility. And there's so much more that I could talk about. It's just a new life, totally.
And you're still a very humble person. Despite all this, you're still just a little bit shy and you don't want to take credit for it all. But you deserve it. We gave you information and you did the work.
Yes, it was great information. So needed.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't. I just want to say thank you and send you a virtual hug.
I send a virtual hug back. If you can hear anything in Alabama, it's because there's a 6'4" psychologist doing a happy dance in Pompano Beach, Florida.
Okay.
Vanessa, it was great.
Oh, thank you.
It was terrific. I want you to take a breath and be proud of yourself. It's okay. You don't have to be quite as humble as you are. You're doing great.
Okay, thank you.
I guess we'll say goodbye for now then. Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.